Dad? Hey, it's me, Steve. This year, to avoid any confusion, I'm putting my wish list on video. All I want is a computer. Now hold on, Dad. It's just $849 for all of this. A Dell computer, speakers, monitor,
Dell is an American multinational computer technology company. The company was founded by Michael Dell on February 1st, 1984, but over the past couple of years, Dell hasn't really been doing too well and they're struggling to stay afloat. So, could it actually be game over for Dell?
All you have to do is call or go online. Anywho.
Dell traces its origins to 1984 when Michael Dell created Dell Computers Corporation, which at the time did business as PCs Limited, which is a student of the University of Texas at Austin. The dorm room headquartered company sold IBM PC-compatible computers built from stock components. Dell dropped out of high school to focus full-time on his fledgling business after getting $1,000 in expansion capital from his family. In 1985, the company produced the first computer of its own design, the Turbo PC, which sold for $795. PCs Limited advertised its systems in national computer magazines for sale directly to consumers and custom-assembled each ordered unit according to a selection of options. The company grossed more than $73 million in its first year of operation. In 1986, Michael Dell brought in Lee Walker, a 51-year-old venture capitalist, as president and chief operating officer to serve as Dell's mentor and implement Dell's ideas for growing the company.
The kid from next door.
Walker also instrumental in recruiting members to the board of directors when the company went public in 1988.
Here's the deal. You
Walker retired in 1990 due to health, and Michael Dell hired Morton Mayerson, former CEO and president of Electronic Data Systems, to transform the company from a fast-growing, medium-sized firm into a billion-dollar enterprise. The company dropped the PCs Limited name in 1987 to become Dell Computer Corporation and began expanding globally. In June 1988, Dell's market capitalization grew from $30 million to $80 million from its June 22nd initial public offering of 3.5 million shares at $8.50 a share. In 1992, Fortune magazine included Dell Computer Corporation in its list of the world's 500 largest companies, making Michael Dell the youngest CEO of a Fortune 500 company ever. In 1993, to complement its own direct sales channel, Dell planned to sell PCs at big box retail outlets, such as Walmart, which would have brought in an additional $125 million in annual revenue. Bain consultant Kevin Rowland persuaded Michael Dell to pull out these deals, believing they would be money losers in the long run. Margins at retail were thin at best, and Dell left the reseller channel in 1994. Rowlands would soon join Dell full-time and eventually become the company president and CEO. Growth in the 1990s and early 2000s. Originally, Dell did not emphasize the consumer market due to the higher costs of unacceptably low profit margins in selling to individuals and households. This changed when the company's internet site took off in 1996 and 1997. While the industry's average selling price to individuals was going down, Dell's was going up, as second and third-time computer buyers who wanted powerful computers with multiple features and did not need much technical support were choosing Dell. Dell found an opportunity among PC-savvy individuals who liked the convenience of buying direct, customizing their PC to their means, and having it delivered in days. In early 1997, Dell curated an internal sales and marketing group dedicated to serving the home market and introduced a product line designed especially for individual users. From 1997 to 2004, Dell enjoyed steady growth and it gained market share from competitors even during industry slumps. During the same period, rival PC vendors such as Compaq, Gateway, IBM, Packard, Bell, and AST Research struggled and eventually left the market or were bought out. Dell surpassed Compaq to become the largest PC manufacturer in 1999. Operating costs made up only 10% of Dell's $35 billion in revenue in 2002, compared with 21% of revenue at Hewlett-Packard, 25% at Gateway, and 46% at Cisco. In 2002, when Compaq merged with Hewlett-Packard, the fourth-place PC maker, the newly combined Hewlett-Packard took the top spot but struggled, and Dell soon regained its lead. Dell grew the fastest in the early 2000s. Dell attained and maintained the top rating in PC reliability and customer service/technical support, according to Consumer Reports year after year during the mid to late 1990s through 2001, right before Windows XP release. In 1996, Dell began selling computers through its website. In the mid-1990s, Dell expanded beyond desktop computers and laptops by selling servers, starting with low-end servers. The major three providers of servers at the time were IBM, Hewlett-Packard, and Compaq, many of which were based on proprietary technology such as IBM's Power 4 microprocessors or various proprietary versions of the Unix operating system. Dell's new PowerEdge servers did not require a major investment in proprietary technologies, as they ran Microsoft Windows NT on Intel chips and could be built cheaper than its competitors. Consequently, Dell's enterprise revenues, almost non-existent in 1994, accounted for 13% of the company's total intake by 1998. 3 years later, Dell passed Compaq as the top provider of Intel-based servers with 31% of the market. Dell's first accusation occurred in 1999 with the purchase of ConvergeNet Technologies for $332 million after Dell had failed to develop an enterprise storage system in-house. ConvergeNet's elegant but complex technology did not fit in with Dell's commodity producer business model, forcing Dell to write down the entire value of the accusation. In 2002, Dell expanded its product line to include televisions, handhelds, digital audio players, and printers. Chairman and CEO Michael Dell had repeatedly blocked President and COO Kevin Rowland's attempts to lessen the company's heavy dependency on PCs, which Rowland wanted to fix by acquiring EMC Corporation. In 2003, the company was rebranded as simply Dell Incorporated to recognize the company's expansion beyond computers. In 2004, Michael Dell resigned as CEO while retaining the position of chairman, handing the CEO title to Kevin Rowland, who had been president and COO since 2001. Despite no longer holding the CEO title, Dell essentially acted as de facto co-CEO with Rowland.
Treat yourself to a Dell
Under Rowland, Dell acquired Alienware, a manufacturer of high-end PCs, targeted mainly towards the gaming market. Disappointments. In 2005, while earnings and sales continued to rise, sales growth slowed considerably and the company stock lost 25% of its value that year. By June 2006, the stock traded around $25 US, which was 40% down from July 2005, the high watermark of the company in the post-dot-com era. The slowing sales growth has been attributed to the to the maturing PC market, which constituted of 66% of Dell sales, and analysts suggested that Dell needed to make inroads into non-PC business segments such as storage services and servers. Dell's price advantage was tied to its ultra-lean manufacturing for desktop PCs, but this became less important content as savings became harder to find inside the company's supply chain, and as competitors such as Hewlett-Packard and Acer made their PC manufacturing operations more efficient to match Dell, weakening Dell's traditional price differentiation. Throughout the entire PC industry, declines in prices along with consumerist increases in performance meant that Dell had fewer opportunities to upsell their customers, a lucrative strategy for encouraging buyers to upgrade the processor or memory. As a result, the company was selling a greater proportion of inexpensive PCs than before, which eroded profit margins. The laptop segment had become the fastest growing of the PC market, but Dell produced low-cost notebooks in China, like other PC manufacturers, which eliminated Dell's manufacturing cost advantages. Plus, Dell's reliance on internet sales meant that it missed out on growing notebook sales in big box stores. CNET has suggested that Dell was getting trapped in the increasing commoditization of high-volume, low-margin computers, which prevented it from offering more exciting devices that consumers demanded. Despite plans of expanding into other global regions, the product segment's Dell was heavily dependent on U.S. corporate PC market, as desktop PCs sold to both commercial and corporate customers accounted for 32% of its revenue, 85% of its revenue comes from businesses, and 64% of its revenue comes from North and South America, according to its 2006 third quarter results. U.S. shipments of desktop PCs were shrinking, and the corporate PC market, which purchases PCs in upgrade cycles, had largely decided to take a break from buying new systems. The last cycle started around 2002, 3 or so years after companies started buying PCs ahead of the perceived Y2K problems, and corporate clients were not expected to upgrade again until extensive testing of Microsoft's Windows Vista expected early in 2007, putting the next upgrade cycle around 2008. Heavily depending on PCs, Dell had to slash prices to boost sales volumes while demanding deep cuts from suppliers. Dell had long stuck by its direct sales model. Consumers had become the main drivers of PC sales in recent years, yet there had a decline in consumers purchasing PCs through the web or on the phone, as increasing numbers were visiting consumer electronics retail stores to try out the devices first. Dell's rivals in the PC industry, HP, Gateway, and Acer, had long retail presence and so were well positioned to take advantage of the consumer shift. The lack of a retail presence stymied Dell's attempts to offer consumer electronics such as flat panel TVs and MP3 players. Dell responded by experimenting with small kiosks plus quasi-rental stores in Texas and New York. Dell had a reputation as a company that relied upon supply chain efficiencies to sell established technologies at low prices instead of being an innovator. By the mid-2000s, many analysts were looking to innovating companies as the next source of growth in the technology sector. Dell's low spending on R&D relative to its revenue compared to IBM, Hewlett-Packard, and Apple Incorporated, which worked well in commoditized PC market, prevented it from marketing inroads into more lucrative segments such as MP3 players and later mobile devices. Increasing spending on R&D would have cut into the operating margins that the company emphasized. Dell had done well with a horizontal organization that focused on PCs when the computing industry moved to horizontal mix and match layers in the 1980s, but by the mid-2000s, the industry shifted to vertically integrated stacks to deliver complete solutions, and Dell lagged far behind competitors like Hewlett-Packard and Oracle. Dell's reputation for poor customer service since 2002, which was separated as it moved call centers offshore, and as its growth outstripped its technical support infrastructure, came under increasing scrutiny on the web. The original Dell model was known for high customer satisfaction when PCs for thousands, but by the 2000s, the company could not just justify the level of service when computers in the same lineup sold for hundreds. Rollins responded by shifting Dick Hunter from the head of manufacturing to head of customer service. Hunter, who noted that Dell's DNA of cost-cutting got in the way, aimed to reduce call transfer times and have call center representatives resolve inquiries in one call. By 2006, Dell had spent $100 million in just a few months to improve on this and rolled out Dell Connect to answer customer inquiries more quickly. In July 2006, the company started its direct-to-Dell blog, and then in February 2007, Michael Dell launched ideastorm.com, asking customers for advice including selling Linux computers and reducing promotional bloatware on PCs. These initiatives did manage to cut the negative blog posts from 49% to 22%, as well as reduce the, pardon my language, Dell hell prominent on internet search engines. There was also criticism that Dell used faulty components for its PCs, particularly the 11.8 million Optiplex desktop computers sold to businesses and governments from May 2003 to July 2005 that suffered from faulty capacitors. A battery recall in August 2006 as a result as a Dell laptop catching fire caused much negative attention for the company, though later Sony was found responsible for the faulty batteries. 2006 marked the first year that Dell's growth was slower than the PC industry as a whole. By the fourth quarter of 2006, Dell lost its title of the largest PC manufacturer to rival Hewlett-Packard, whose personal computer systems group was invigorated thanks to a restructuring initiated by their CEO Mark Hurd. After 4 out of 5 quarterly earnings reports were below expectations, Rollins resigned as president and CEO on January 31, 2007, and founder Michael Dell assumed the role of CEO again. Dell 2.0 and downsizing. Dell announced a change campaign called Dell 2.0, reducing the number of employees and diversifying the company's products. While chairman of the board after relinquishing his CEO position, Michael Dell still had significant input in the company during Rollins' years as CEO. With the return of Michael Dell as CEO, the company saw immediate changes in operations, the exodus of many senior vice presidents, and new personnel brought in from outside the company. Michael Dell announced a number of initiatives and plans, part of the Dell 2.0 initiative to improve the company's financial performance. Michael Dell announced a number of initiatives and plans, part of the Dell 2.0 initiative to improve the company's financial performance. These include elimination of 2006 bonuses for employees with some discretionary awards, reduction in the number of managers reporting directly to Michael Dell from 20 to 12, and reduction of bureaucracy. Jim Schneider retired as CFO and was replaced by Donald Carty as the company came under an SEC probe for its accounting practices. On April 23, 2008, Dell announced the closure of one of its biggest Canadian call centers in Cantona, Ontario, terminating approximately 1,100 employees, with 500 of those redundancies effective on the spot, and with the official closure of the center scheduled for the summer. The call center had opened in 2006 after the city of Ottawa won a bid to host it. Less than a year later, Dell planned to double its workforce to nearly 3,000 workers at a new building. These plans were reversed due to a high Canadian dollar that made the Ottawa staff relatively expensive, and also a part of Dell's turnaround, which involved moving these call centers offshore to cut costs. The company had also announced the shutdown of its Edmonton, Alberta office, losing 900 jobs. In total, Dell announced the ending of about 8,800 jobs in 2007, 2008, 10% of its workforce. By the late 2000s, Dell's configure-to-order approach of manufacturing and delivering individual PCs configured to customers' specifications from its US facilities and was no longer as efficient or competitive with high-volume Asian contract manufacturers as PCs became powerful, low-cost commodities. Dell closed plants that produced desktop computers for the North American market, including the Mort Tropfer Manufacturing Center in Austin, Texas, which was its original location, and Lebanon, Tennessee, which opened in 1999, in 2008 and early 2009, respectively. The desktop production plant in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, received $280 million in incentives from the state and opened in 2005, but ceased operations in November 2010. Dell's contract with the state required them to repay the incentives for failing to meet the conditions, and they sold the North Carolina plant to Herbalife. Most of the work that used to take place in Dell's US plants were transferred to contract manufacturers in Asia and Mexico, or some of Dell's own factories overseas. The Miami, Florida facility of its Alienware subsidiary remains in operation while Dell continues to produce its servers, its most profitable product in Austin, Texas. On January 8, 2009, Dell announced the closure of its manufacturing plant in Limerick, Ireland, with the loss of 1,900 jobs and the transfer of its production to its plant in Lodz, Poland. The release of Apple's iPad tablet computer had a negative impact on Dell and other major PC vendors as consumers switched away from desktop and laptop PCs. Dell's own mobility division has not managed success with developing smartphones or tablets, whether running Windows or Google Android. The Dell Streak was a failure commercially and critically due to its outdated OS, numerous bugs, and a low-resolution screen. InfoWorld suggested that Dell and other OEMs saw tablets as a short-term, low-investment opportunity running Google Android, an approach that neglected user interface and failed to gain long-term market traction with consumers. Dell has responded by pushing higher-end PCs such as the XPS line of notebooks, which do not compete with the Apple iPad and Kindle Fire tablets. The growing popularity of smartphones and tablet computers instead of PCs drove Dell's consumer segment to an operating loss in Q3 2012. In December 2012, Dell suffered its first decline in holiday sales in 5 years, despite the introduction of Windows 8. In the shrinking PC industry, Dell continued to lose market share as it dropped below Lenovo in 2011 to fall to number 3 in the world. Dell and fellow American conglomerate Hewlett-Packard came under pressure from Asian PC manufacturers Lenovo, Asus, and Acer, all of which had lower production costs and willing to accept lower profit margins. In addition, while the Asian PC vendors had been improving their quality and design, for instance, Lenovo's ThinkPad series was winning corporate customers away from Dell's laptops. Dell's customer service and reputation had been slipping. Dell remained the second most profitable PC vendor, as it took 13% of operating profits in the PC industry during Q4 2012, behind Apple Incorporation's Macintosh that took 45%, 7% at Hewlett-Packard, 6% at Lenovo and Asus, and 1% for Acer. Dell has been attempting to offset its declining PC business, which still accounted for half of its revenue, and generate steady cash flow by expanding into the enterprise market with servers, networking, software, and services. It avoided many of the accusation write-downs and management turnover that plagued its chief rival Hewlett-Packard. Dell also managed some success in taking advantage of its high-touch direct sales heritage to establish close relationship and design solutions for clients. Despite spending $13 billion on acquisitions to diversify its portfolio beyond hardware, the company was unable to convince the market that it could thrive or made the transformation in the post-PC world, as it suffered continued declines in revenue and share price. Dell's market share in the corporate segment was previously a moat against rivals, but this has no longer been the case, as sales and profits have fallen precipitously. 2013 buyout. After several weeks of rumors, which started around January 11th, 2013, Dell announced on February 5th, 2013, that it had struck a $24.4 billion leveraged buyout deal that would have delisted its shares from NASDAQ and Hong Kong Stock Exchange and taken it private. Crowders reported that Michael Dell and Silver Lake Partners aided a $2 billion loan from Microsoft would acquire the public shares at $13.65 a piece. The $24.4 billion buyout that was projected by the largest leveraged buyout backed by private equity since the 2007 financial crisis. It is also the largest technology buyout ever, surpassing the 2006 buyout of Freescale Semiconductor for $17.5 billion. The founder of Dell, Michael Dell, said the February offer, I believe this transaction will open an exciting new chapter for Dell, our customers and team members.
This Dimension desktop comes with an Intel Celeron processor
Lenovo
at 400
reacted to the buyout, saying the financial actions of some of our traditional competitors will substantially change our outlook.
All for only $959.
In March 2013, the Blackstone Group and Carl
and order your Dell Dimension with Intel Celeron processor,
Dell.
and you'll be entered into our sweepstakes.
In April 2013, Blackstone withdrew their offer, citing deteriorating business. Other private equity firms such as KKR and Company, the TPG Capital declined to submit alternative bids for Dell, citing the uncertain market for personal computers with competitive pressures, so the wide-open bidding war never materialized. Analysts said the biggest challenge facing Silver Lake would be to find an exit strategy to profit from its investment, which would be when the company would hold an IPO to go public again.
It's even got enough power for zapping aliens and downloading music.
Get a $25 billion enterprise value for Dell,
it will take
years to get out. In May 2013, Dell joined his board in voting for his offer. The following August, he reached a deal with the special committee on the board for $13.88, a raised price of $13.75 plus a special divided of 13 cents per share, as well as a change to the voting rules.
This year, to avoid any confusion, I'm putting my wish list on video. All I want is a computer. Now hold on, Dad.
Per share divided
$849.
for the third fiscal quarter was accepted on September 12th and closed on October 30th, 2013, ending Dell's 25-year run as a publicly traded company. After the buyout, the newly private Dell offered a voluntary separation program that they expected to reduce their workforce by up to 7%. The reception to the program so exceeded the expectations that Dell may be forced to hire new staff to make up for the losses. On November 19, 2015, Dell alongside ARM Holdings, Cisco Systems, Intel, Microsoft, and Princeton University founded the Open Fog Consortium to promote interest in development in fog computing. In July 2018, Dell announced intentions to become a publicly traded company again by paying $21.7 billion in both cash and stock to buy back shares from its stake in VMware. In November 2018, Carl Icahn, 9.3% owner of Dell, sued the company over plans to go public. And there's the history of Dell. So, could it actually be game over for Dell? Well, I would have to say, with Dell actually deciding to sue a company just for going public, things could probably be going downhill very fast for Dell. Anyways, I sure hope you guys enjoyed this video. Sorry for swearing in this video, by the way. If you guys happen to enjoy this video, please make sure you hit that like button, and also don't forget to subscribe. Because I make videos every single day, and also don't forget to ring that notification bell so you never miss a single video that I upload, and also don't forget to subscribe to my second channel. It will be the third link in the description below, and if you guys would like to send me fan art, you can send it to my Instagram. My Instagram will be the second link in the description below, and if you guys would like to join my Roblox fan group will be the first link in the description below, and until then, I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye!